right. What's the damn deal? It's Bread Man, the Angry Black Man Podcast. You understand what I'm saying? And this is episode 13. Episode 13. The one and only Patrick Eady, right? One of the very fast rising comedians out of Houston, Texas. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta listen to me. Just do the motherfucking research. How they say Google, right? Just Google
research, baby.
Just Google, baby. You understand what I'm saying?
It's a pleasure to be here, man. You kidding me? We're big fans of Bread Man. Want to support the podcast? It's cool. I mean, we appreciate hustle because hustle's the number one thing in this game, as anything really.
Right.
But hustle's important, man.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? So when you hustle, we're hustling. I mean, game respects game. Every sense of the word. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the kind words and all that shit like that. Because stuff like this, man. When you're out of town, you just happen to run into somebody from H-Town. It's fucking cool, man.
Right. It's fucking awesome.
We ran into Jesse Saldana last night on stuff, and like Zach Dixon was out there. We were in San Antonio.
Okay.
We had a fucking blast. It's a great room if you get a chance to. The Blind Tiger.
Right.
Fucking phenomenal.
Okay.
Phenomenal. It's like a basement almost, but it's like real tight. Oh, one of the funnest gigs I ever did, man.
Okay.
It's perfectly set up for comedy, but like stuff like this, man. This is why we do it, man.
Beautiful.
Supporting friends, supporting people that we like, man. This is it, man. This is why I talk a little bit closer to the mic. Normally I talk so loud, I kind of back up. Now let me get on this mic a little bit, baby.
But okay, so one of the things I always wanted to ask you. You understand what I'm saying? Because you one of those faces. You're one of those guys. Once you see this person or you meet this guy one time, you'll never forget him. So I have to ask you while I got you on here. Where do you get your style from, bro?
My style?
Where do you get this goddamn Miami Vice motherfucking it's straight out of a Miami Vice, but it's like on steroids. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker is taking it to another level. Where do you get your style, homie?
Well, I appreciate that, man. Well, it's something I was kind of leaned into. So like last year, right, I was sitting around like 315. Right, so I'm a double XL at that point, maybe triple XL.
Wait, bring that back. Did you just tell me last year you saying you were bench pressing 315?
No, I weighed 315 pounds. I had a torn meniscus. I was like, smoking a bunch of weed, eating a bunch of chips, feeling sorry for myself. You know what
Charles, this motherfucker, is he telling the truth?
Well, he did.
Don't come on here trying to sell no weight gain and shit. Next thing you know, this motherfucker pull a weight, supposed to put some weight gain and shit, and I lost it, y'all. Taking this right here.
Shit, I would if I could make some money off it, baby. Hey.
God, are you serious, bro? Is he serious, bro?
I didn't know him back then, but I saw pictures.
What?
So around this time last year, I did a gig for Bo Hernandez, great guy, Laughing Hearts Comedy.
Okay.
And he booked a show at the rodeo, right?
Mm.
And me and my girl at the time went there, and I was wearing a white shirt, and I looked kind of just like a fucking white blimp, you know what I'm saying? And there was a picture of me on my Instagram, because, like, they canceled the show in the middle of my set because all these things were going wrong. Like the sound was fucked up, all this stuff. But I was walking around like 315 pounds. You know what I'm saying? That was the heaviest I ever been.
Are you serious?
100%, dog. 100%.
So what was it that what was the turning point? Because this is why you were actually doing comedy. So before you answer that question, I personally feel like that may have made your comedy better for the simple fact because. Once you go on stage like that, some people consider that uncomfortable or whatever, this and that. And you go out there and you fucking doing comedy, you know what I'm saying? Man. So shit, if I'm up here doing comedy with motherfuckers at 315, you know what I'm saying? I'm making motherfuckers laugh and I'm going in. You know what I'm about to do when I come back and I'm right, dog. My shit gonna be right. So I mean, what was the turning point? Was like, I'm finna like just get right, or was it like a health thing? Like,
it was a couple things, but so like I ended a long-term relationship, and also at the time I felt like that was about 30% of it. 30%.
That was about 80%.
Let me tell you though.
No, about 80%.
I gotta get laid.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But a bigger part of it is like when you project who you are in the future, you're like, man, who do I want to be? What do I want to be like? I didn't see myself as the fat comic who sweats too much on stage. Like, you know what I'm saying? I saw myself as a different kind of guy. So, like, I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to suffer on stage, off stage. And I know it's going to help what I like to do.
Right.
I just kind of fell in love with weightlifting again. And taking care of my body, and I started selling dividends. And then after a while, I started feeling better and better. And like now, I've kind of replaced my like food addiction, if you will, to an addiction to being like, you know, working out and trying to be healthy.
Right,
and that shit, you know what I'm saying?
right.
Now there are still, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like to eat me a pizza every now and then, eat like shit, but like I understand that's not it. That's not the only place I derive pleasure from.
Right.
So when I started losing all this weight, all my fat clothes don't fit no more. So I started going to the Goodwill. And I started buying some stuff, and I started buying these shirts from these guys at Tropical Bros.
Okay.
And they had these bitchin' Hawaiian shirts. They're made out of rayon. They're real soft.
Right.
And I started wearing those maybe like in August. And I was like, you know, I like this. You know? And then I had a goatee. I'm like, you know what? Let me have a mustache. My dad has a mustache. I got an uncle who's got a mustache. I'm like, you know what? It's an Edie thing.
Right.
So it looks good.
But I'm talking about that old school goatee. You know what I'm saying? I got a little fuzz up there. You feel me? You feel me? But I like it though, man. I really like your style, man. Every time, you know what I'm saying, you like super fly.
Thank you, man.
That really gets down to, you know what I'm saying, kind of helps me, you know, it gives me a better understanding.
Well, you're a swag. You got a swagger to you.
I appreciate that.
You got, and so I try to do the same thing where I cultivate a swagger,
right?
Because people like that. People want to feel like they're seeing something cool. Even like there's a band called Ghost.
Okay.
And they're this weird Swedish band, and they don't sound real heavy, but they have like a real scary look.
Okay.
And people kind of fall in love with the
look. Right.
And then the music is good, it backs it up, but the look is like, oh, this is cool as fuck.
Right.
So I think comedy is the same thing. I mean, you got to have substance, you got to have things to say, and you got to be funny.
Okay.
But the look is like the frosting on the cake.
Pay attention.
You know what I'm saying?
Pay attention.
So that draws you in. So now that you're with me, like, oh, this guy, he looks good, whatever. He's got this thing going on. Whatever he's doing, he believes in it.
Right.
And he's into it.
Okay.
So I feel like I should at least give him a chance.
Right.
Because I think confidence is a contagious thing. I'm a big fan of like stage presence and drawing you in.
Right.
The whole show. I'm a big fan of the whole show.
Yeah, I see. Your comedy, you're very crowd. You engage the crowd.
Oh, for sure, man.
And it's something that it blows my fucking mind every time I see it. You know what I'm saying? Lets me know how long I have to go. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
because I don't know, people. I always like to make comparisons, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of see that shit as almost like rapping, like freestyling. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like,
for sure. Off the dome.
I can write a song. I've written a song. I came to the club, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? Write the song. And niggas gonna get crunk because I wrote the song to make niggas crunk. You feel me? But when I come in that bitch and just start freestyling, you know what I mean? It looks like when you're crowd, and it has to be a freestyle because you don't know how that person is going to respond. Man. You don't know what the answer they're going to give you.
When I do that stuff, it's being completely present in the moment.
Right.
And audiences always appreciate that.
Okay.
Because I got my jokes, I got my set list. So, like, if I got my song list, I got the things I'm going to do. But I'm going to make this unique by bringing in the crowd.
Right.
I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to see what's going on. And that's something I've built through doing, like, a lot of bar gigs, a lot of tough shows.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, they may not, I've done a lot of shows, people aren't there to see comedy.
Right.
So you got to engage them. You got to be cool. And like, in a lot of ways, I told a lot of my friends this, the best comedy I see, and a lot of times I feel like when I'm having the best time, even when you go to a club, like, you feel like you're hanging out with this dude in his garage.
Right. You have to make some kind of connection.
So I try to make the audience feel like, yo, you're with me in my garage and I'm holding court now.
Right.
And we're having a fucking good time.
Right.
We're all having a beer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I do that, I feel like that's when I excel the best. Now, in doing that, I have to walk a fine line of being more charming than arrogant.
Right.
Because crowd work can go astray.
Exactly.
And I've had it go astray.
And that's why I'm saying, like, that shit
is tough road.
It's beautiful to watch because I know how hard it can be. You know what I'm saying? Just like freestyle, you could stumble. And when you stumble, it's like when you battle or when you freestyle, when you stumble, motherfucker be like, boo, next. You feel me? But
for sure, man.
So somebody can like interrupt and maybe not give you the answer or try to fuck your show up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But there's always a way out.
Okay.
And you just gotta stay. You can't panic. And there's something I listened to somebody talk about crowd work, and I thought was very interesting. It's like, look, not everything you say has to be drop dead hilarious, but just be interesting. So just talk to them. And also don't be trying to like hit a home run on every pitch.
Right.
So every time they ask you a question, don't be going in on them like, oh, you do this, motherfucker.
Right.
Don't be a dick. Talk to them. And if you talk to somebody, usually you could drag out an interesting perspective, an interesting note on what's going on. And now the way I kind of explain it, so I'll talk to the whole audience.
Right.
And every time I talk to somebody, it's like an LED light above their head.
Okay.
So there's one there. And then I talk to somebody else. Now it's another LED light. So after 10 minutes, I got like 5 LED lights. And hopefully if I'm doing good, I'm doing right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit all those LED lights.
Man, pay attention.
as like a bang bang, kind of like Guitar Hero.
Right.
So I played a lot of video games as a kid. So you see
okay.
the gems falling down. So when I'm doing just crowd work, I'm like da 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 da, and then try to bring it all together. You make your own callbacks.
Right.
You make your own little inside jokes with
Right.
people.
Right.
And people love that shit. And then
I love it.
now they're more interested because I've had a hard time when I write my material. Sometimes it feels like I haven't been real personal with a lot of my material, and that's something that's kind of next step for me.
Okay.
Is to be more like vulnerable on stage.
Right.
That's a big step, and that's hard to do it.
That's a big part of my comedy.
Sure, man.
If y'all ever seen me, you know that's a big part of my shit. But yeah, that's definitely hard to do.
I like to write. Like little jokes and all that shit.
Right,
and sometimes that's not necessarily a personal introspection on who I am.
But see, me personally, you know what I'm saying? I would think that's harder. You know what I'm saying? That's more fun. That's more of a fundamental of comedy. Let's get straight to the bare bones mechanics.
That's what I like the bare bones mechanics.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what I can respect because whereas to me, it's gonna take me to my joke. I'm getting it down. My jokes used to take. Just no bullshit. Like a joke with the punch and everything. It used to take like one joke. For me, used to take like a minute. A minute and 30 seconds. Because I'm trying to sell myself. I'm trying to set it up, and then I'm trying to put. You know what I'm saying? I've seen you come up there and fucking like it's like unloading a machine gun. You finna get like 6 or 7 off in like 1 minute.
You gotta be efficient. Yeah. Set up, punch, set up, punch, set up, punch, set up, punch.
Me personally, I consider that much harder.
Thank you, man. And I appreciate that. But that's something too that's been honed. It's been thought of over time. And also, I'm like, I appreciate it because like. People who like comedy really appreciate that. They really like, oh man, this guy just fucking loaded up the machine gun. He's like, da 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 da. And I like that kind of aggressive style of comedy. I don't want you to catch your breath
on their ass. I got plenty more.
I'm on you, dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind being intense.
Right.
It's like sometimes that really helps. Like for a longer set, take the foot off the accelerator a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Kick back a little bit
because you got a little bit of extra time and you don't need to burn through all these jokes. And a lot of times too. So those shorter jokes, if you really want to start digging into them and you want to be like a real good joke writer,
you can find
which is what I want to do. I want to go back to some of these shorter jokes and turn them into an accordion,
right.
Like a bit like Ian Edwards is really great at that.
Okay,
I don't know if you know he is. He's a great comic. He was just here at Houston, January 3rd, I believe.
Ian Edwards.
He's fucking amazing. He's written for a lot of TV shows. He opens for Joe Rogan a lot. He's really good at taking an idea, a real funny setup punchline, but now he's got to expand it for 3 minutes and just hit every different angle from it and really milk that dry.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Another example, because I'm a big metalhead fan.
Okay.
Like, there's a band called Lamb of God, and whenever they do like a riff, the whole song, they fucking do every iteration of that riff.
Okay.
Like, they fucking milk it dry. To where you're like, oh fuck, everything I thought you could have done, you did with that. So kind of take that to comedy.
Right.
And how can I take like this short joke and really
stretch it and get everything, just squeeze everything out of it.
Being efficient with your writing is hard because a lot of times you write a joke and you think you're done. And I've been
yes,
through that
and
then
there's a lot more there.
It's not done. It's never done.
There's a lot more there.
And a big part of that is being open to criticism. So I'm happy I got Charles with me. I got a lot of boys, and I like hearing criticism.
You need people around you that are going to tell you the truth. I know Charles. You know what I'm saying. And, I'm gonna bring Charles on in a minute. If y'all don't know Charles, his name is Charles Justice. You know what I'm saying. So like I said, his name says it for itself. But this guy,
my boy right there,
he looks like the motherfucker, and he is the motherfucker. He's gonna tell you the stone cold truth. Like, nah, man, that wasn't. Charles is like your uncle. You know what I'm saying. Your uncle in every family, he gonna give it to you raw. You know what I'm saying. It's pretty cool. You know what I mean. To see you riding out with Charles, man.
Me and my boy, Degenerate Disco, baby.
Yeah, man. All right, Pat. So I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the first time that I met you. It was at the Secret Group in Houston, Texas, right? And I think actually the first time I saw you, I walked into one of your sets. You know what I'm saying? You was doing that technical shit you was just talking about. You know what I'm saying? It was like rapid fire. You weren't, you know what I'm saying? You weren't fucking around. You know what I mean? But it was a lot of crowd work. But my mind was just fucking blown away. You know what I mean? And I really respect you because. I could tell that you had like a lot of weight, you know what I'm saying? What I consider a lot of weight. People know who the fuck you are now, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You're what we call a working comedian, you know what I'm saying? So fuck anybody who, oh, look at Brad, he dick ride. No. It's hard to get a fucking book gig, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to walk into a motherfucking open mic, you know what I'm saying? Just be like, I want to do my shit, you know what I mean? Like, fuck the line, like, all that shit, you know what I mean? That shit is hard, you know what I mean? These are stepping stones in the game of comedy, you know what I mean? So when I saw this man, I peeped him. He was doing his damn thing, but he didn't hesitate. You understand what I'm saying? To how do I say, open up the line of communication for bread, man. You understand what I'm saying? And I really appreciate that. You feel me? You know what I mean? He's always slowed down and chopped up game with me. This motherfucker move fast. You understand what I'm saying? He don't slow down for everybody. Am I lying? That's real shit. He don't slow down for everybody. You understand what I'm saying? If I walked in the club with 2-3 bitches every time, I wouldn't want to slow down for nobody too. I mean, why would I? But, you know what I'm saying? Am I lying, y'all? That motherfucker up in here with 2-3 bitches every time, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for you to come in here with the chinchilla one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't hot enough. It ain't cold enough in Houston. If it was cold enough, your ass would be in that motherfucker like Joe Namath and shit with the goddamn chinchilla, man.
That's next.
Man. But salute, man. I really appreciate that because it means a lot to the people when they're coming into, you know what I'm saying, a new industry, you know what I mean?
That's exactly how because when I first started, so it took me, to give you some,
that's the question I'm getting to. Tell me about your first experience with comedy and how you got hooked, you know what I mean? Your first time you went on stage, the first time you decided this is what the fuck I'm going to do, you know what I mean? Talk to us about that.
So, okay, let's the first time I got on stage, I was urged by my... So I was a girl I was dating at the time, on and off, and she's like, "Look, you always been talking about this. Come out and go do it." And the first time I ever did was at PJ's, right? I did at PJ's.
I know PJ's.
I love PJ's. Yeah.
Upstairs, kind of like a quiet room. You know
off
what I'm
on
saying?
West Gray.
I like PJ's. I kill PJ's every time I go there.
It's one of my favorite spots.
They're like right there. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. It's the best attic in town.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Big fan. I went there and like my set, it was a lot of like personality and a lot of like me being just outrageous.
Okay.
But I knew when I was doing it, it made me so excited. And like as soon as I did it, I'm like, okay, how can I make this? I didn't understand what comedy was when I first started, of course.
Okay.
But when I did it, I was like, I need to figure this out.
So it was just like, for when you came across, it was like, it's an open mic, it's a stage. If you want to get up there,
let's do it.
Go ahead and
I'll do that. And so for the first year, I got up 60. I record all my sets on my phone.
Okay.
So the first year, I got up 60 times. I know that because I didn't get booked till a year later.
Wow.
My first book gig was at PJ's. Ike and Joku booked me. And it was a great show. I invited a bunch of my family. And that was a kind of a, I had a decent set, and I did 10 minutes, but I realized, so this past year, with everything that went down, I never put more work into comedy than this past year.
Right.
So ever since about like May, I've been trying to hit 8 to 12 open mics.
Okay.
A week.
I can definitely tell, motherfucker, you out here moving like it's 10 of y'all.
And that's what I'm saying.
I just saw you. I just saw you in Houston, motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? Goddamn, like, you know what I mean? Like this shit is crazy, but this is how you have to move in comedy. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, there's a clarity to it, and there's like it's a hero's journey.
Right.
And like, dude, I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be, doing exactly what I need to do. Now, how can I do more of that? So eventually, I can support myself and my family doing what I love to do. That's the American dream. That's the dream, hands down. Right. So you gotta move fast. There are opportunities here because, like, you know what? I heard someone say this. It was on a different podcast. We said if you're at home at 7 o'clock at night watching TV, you're losing.
You're losing.
You're losing. You ain't out there chasing your dream. You ain't out there doing what you love to do.
You're losing.
You know what I'm saying? And there are nights, don't get me wrong, there are nights where I got to stay home and
recharge.
But even then, I'm pacing. I'm like, fuck, man, I could have been at Darwin's right now. I could be out there. I mean, because like, you're just restless.
We are kindred spirits because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Once you catch the bug.
Would you believe that the medical world causes anxiety? You know? would you believe that they've dubbed this anxiety and all we call it is trying to goddamn make a dream come true?
Everyone feels these feelings, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, you have to find something that like fulfills you. Like,
it has to be worth it.
There's a lot of entrepreneurial sites I follow. They say you gotta have 3 passions: one that makes you money, one that keeps you in shape, and one that makes you happy.
Okay.
Right. And another thing is, I thought that I really
say that one more time. Say. Listen. I like that. Let's take our time, man. We can't just run over that.
All right.
Say, listen. Bring that to the people one more time.
You gotta have 3 hobbies: one that makes you happy, one that makes you money, and one that keeps you in shape. And I feel like that's pretty strong advice. And that leads me to my next thing is that, and I've heard this on a couple different things, that the secret to happiness is finding a problem you like to solve, and then solving that problem over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? It's like my dad, like, so he's done air conditioner work the past 40 years, right?
Okay.
And I've been privileged to work with him and learn from him, learn from grinding on
So
shit.
so you have now you have a skill. You have a skill as well.
But I also know more than anything how to be a man about being the grind mentality.
Right. And
that's such a hard thing.
I can definitely tell.
And that's something I want to take pride in. And like, you know, when I go to open mics, I want to make sure I got my fucking hat on, my lunch pail on.
Right.
And I'm out there.
Come go to work.
Yeah, exactly. You have to have a mental toughness.
Oh, definitely.
And don't be worried about bombing and all this other shit, and it hurts your soul. It's supposed to hurt your soul.
Right.
But that's part of the game.
I've left the stage some nights, you understand? And I'm like, damn, because it's like your confidence get all the way built, and you go on that bitch with your nuts hanging, and then you walk back like, I need to find myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck.
I get you, man.
Like, am I? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean?
Well, so back in November, we did our first Queer in the Steer show, and then my buddy Jamal featured, and I got the headline. It was probably maybe the second or third time I got the headline. I did about 35 minutes, but man, I learned a lot about how I didn't, like, you know, connect with the audience enough.
Right.
And I learned a lot about what I found some holes in my game.
Right.
Which was important, but I was pretty mad because, like, in my mind, I want that show to be fucking
on point. That's what you want to give everybody every time.
So if it's not on that, it fucks
you beat yourself up.
But I think there's a healthy amount of beating yourself up. And there's acknowledging what went wrong and how you could have addressed the situation better.
Right.
But at the same time,
you can't blame it on them, and I haven't got that pitch yet, and I haven't got that, and that's what makes me better. You can't walk away, blame, it was them motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there trying to tell them or shoot them down. You can't, there was a tight crowd. No. Let me know if I'm tripping.
No, you ain't tripping.
Let me know if I'm tripping. If you're a true comic, a true comedian, you should be able to walk into any room, period. I should be able to take you to the blackest barber shop right now, and you should be able to do your set. Am I lying?
I agree with that. No, I agree
with
that.
Am I lying? I should be able to take you to a room full of women, and you should be able to do your set.
That's your job.
And not deviate. Oh, now I got to act black. I got to do this. No. I'm walking in this bitch as Patrick Eady.
Hell yeah, dog.
And they're going to know my name when I leave. Is that not true comedy?
That's 100% true comedy.
Okay.
If you want to be a professional, what do you want to do? You want to make people laugh.
Right.
In any situation, any crowd, anything like that.
Right.
Now, there are certain ways I would approach the audience a little different levels of respect, because, like, you know, even like if I'm in a black room like that, I would try, like, hey, I would bring y'all in maybe a little differently.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's like Austin crowds. Like, saying if I see like a bunch of, like, you know, white kids in the audience, I could attack them.
Right.
And that's fine.
Right.
Because they're like, this is exciting.
Right.
But like, there's a certain level of respect to show.
See, now this is experience talking. You know this is experience.
No, for sure.
Right.
Every room is different, but be yourself and attack it in a certain way. And like, you always have to. You're constantly adjusting comedy. Always adjusting. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm nervous for every set because that's the respect I show for what I'm about to do.
Right.
It can always go bad.
Right.
And that's part of the fun.
Okay.
Because you're riding a wave. You're riding the lightning, man. You know what I'm saying? You're fucking out there. Show the respect that the gig deserves. And when people see how passionate you are, how much work you put in, and how excited you are to be there.
And I've noticed that.
A lot of times they're
that's
gonna
facts.
be on with you.
That's facts. And that is something that people can learn in life. That is fucking facts. I hate cliches. You know what I'm saying? I hate bullshit like that. But something that I have noticed, people, I've heard that before, and I've noticed that in life. If you put it down, you understand what I'm saying? And if you real about what you doing, you see what I'm saying? You can't go and set out like, this is what I'm gonna do. You feel me? Because I'm speaking from experience, right?
Sure,
like you are, because I've had a million dreams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you start something like, but when people don't galvanize like you think they should, you know what I'm saying? You kind of like, forget about it. No, they didn't galvanize because you wasn't real about it, because you would have stayed on top of it. You see what I'm saying?
So this last Thursday I did open mic at Pub Fiction, and I had lost the crowd. And maybe in the middle of my set, they started talking. But I got to understand, I didn't capitalize on the moment. And I tried some crowd work that didn't work. But that was on. I really feel as though there are times when the audience might be tight. The audience might be that. But you understand, it's your job. You have to navigate that.
You have to.
So at the end of the day, we're like, the crowd was tight, this and that. When you blame the crowd, you're really just trying to divert blame from your
responsibility.
Failures. Because it's like, okay, if I'm a plumber, if I'm an AC man, if I do electrical work, if the job is hard, At the end of the day, I can't tell the homeowner, like, oh, man, I couldn't get your plumbing right because I couldn't reach it. It was in the darkest part of the attic. I can't do that.
Right.
It was really hard to do, so I'm sorry.
No, you got to figure it out.
You got to put your fucking your hard hat on. We got to navigate this.
You want to get paid, don't you?
And that's the thing, too. Like, I always want to try to do my jokes and my set the best I can.
Right.
But I'm going to read the room.
Okay.
And I'm gonna acknowledge what's happening in the room. And mold my set to that.
Okay.
Because like, you know, when you do breweries, there's different than bars. Bars are different than clubs. Clubs are different than some other barbershops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's always a different vibe. So you're always assessing and changing your attack plan. You know, it's a lot. So what we have, if we don't always use what we're doing right now, if you don't hit a bunch, it's a perishable skill. Right. It's like MMA fighting or something. If you're not in the gym doing jiu-jitsu, if you're not out there doing like stand-up,
work out. And that's what I tell people when I say I'm going to do my open, I'm going to work out.
Exactly.
That's exactly how I feel. And because I played ball before and I make a lot of comparisons. I'm gonna come back to that, but we're in the present now, so we're gonna work our way back. So tell us about the Patrick Eady before comedy. We know you were 315 pounds. Sure. We know you were heavy or whatever, but we want to know about the Patrick Eady before comedy. Like what did you have? Was there a profession? Was there something else you aspired for? What did you do before you did comedy?
So. Well,
I'm sorry. No, you can't ask women this, but you can ask men. I don't give a fuck. For the record, how old? You know what I'm saying? And you can give us your Hollywood age. Just keep it within 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? Cool. But how old is Pat Eady?
I'm 28 right now. Okay, I just turned 28 December.
28 is a beautiful age. It's a beautiful fucking age.
I made it through 27. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God! I could go on a 5-minute rant about 28.
28's been very.
My nigga, you in your prime right now.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Go back and look at LeBron at 28.
Hell yeah, dog.
Go back and look at Kobe at 28.
I know. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this. I'm pushing it so hard. You know
you in your prime, baby. Oh, most of our records in history were broken by motherfuckers between 28 and 30.
Hell yeah.
But so tell us about the Patrick Eady before. As I was saying, so it's kind of like we working our way backwards. Y'all gotta excuse me. Birdman is a little, you know what I'm saying, sporadic sometimes, but we want to make sure we get this done. So we kind of working our way back. So we want to know about the Patrick Eady before comedy. What was your profession? Did you have a profession?
Sure.
What were you doing? You know when you go out and they ask you that motherfucking question on the application. Tell us your last 10 years of employment. Right. They go, what was you doing the 10 years before comedy? Talk to it.
All right, man. So, I started comedy when I was 24. So I was like 14.
Okay.
I wanted to be something involved with, like, I either wanted to be a football player or some sort of entertainer.
Okay.
Which is kind of a lofty goal. I mean, like, so I loved football, played football the entire time I was, like, in junior high and high school. And then so football is where I kind of understood I had a real good penchant for, like, public speaking. Because, like, my senior year, I was football captain.
I was about to say, tell us how football and public speaking came into play.
I had a coach. His name was Coach Dorr. He was a quarterback's coach, but he always told me my last year, he's like, look, if you get defensive player of the week, I got something for you.
Okay.
So I got close a couple times. I had a couple games where I had like a forced fumble and 2 sacks.
Okay.
But
Cause of habit.
Yeah. So I had a couple of good games, but there was always somebody who had like 4 sacks that game. You know what I'm saying? So we had some good. I was an interior defensive lineman.
Okay.
Right. So the 5th week of the season, coach goes, look, if you do this for me, I'm going to give you that thing I've been promising you.
Okay.
So he asked me to speak at the pep rally for him. So I go out there and I speak in front of like the entire like high school.
Okay.
And we were playing this team called Wharton. And the Wharton had beaten us like the last couple of years. So I wrote this speech where I took the you've seen Pulp Fiction, correct?
I've seen Pulp Fiction.
Well, you remember the time it was like, you read the Bible, Brett?
Okay.
Are you familiar with Ezekiel 25:17?
Yes.
So I took that and I basically molded it into like a football thing, and I did that speech. And it went pretty well. So it went so well I was able to speak in front of the whole like 3 more times.
Oh, okay.
And like in the tunnel.
They kept wanting to see it. Oh,
exactly.
I got you.
And like in the tunnel and shit, I was the one leading them out, and I was the one piping them up and shit. Like that shit was a lot of fun for me. I like motivating people.
Right.
So when I was doing that, like, oh man, I wish I could do something like this.
Right.
And I was always like speech class. I would crush that shit. It was just. It was fun. It was easy. I like engaging people.
Okay.
I like talking about something I'm passionate about.
Right.
You know, and I was good at creative writing, but I didn't know if I wanted to be like a writer all the time. But I was good at that shit. So once my football career ended, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna see what I want to do. I led more into entertainment. I kind of wanted to be a guitar player in a metal band.
So you went straight. I'm telling you, this is like fresh out of high school and everything.
Yeah. So
like, my mind is on.
I wanted to play music.
I want an audience. I want to be an entertainer.
So I started playing. I went to junior college. I jammed with a couple guys. We did that shit. You know, we had some fun shit going. But so I was going to junior college. I majored in computer science.
Okay.
Right. So I got my degree and all that stuff. I got a minor in communications. When I was 21. I started working at Guitar Center. Okay. And that was a lot of fun. I made a lot of good homies there. I got in a band there. Learned a lot of stuff. But then I realized as much as I do love playing music, I love playing guitar. Right. But I was like, man, like it's tough to get 4 dudes dedicated on one objective. It's hard. Especially heavy metal music, death metal and stuff. Because it's a niche market. Okay. And it's hard to play. Right. And drummers are hard to find, like real good death metal drummers. Right. Real hard.
You hear about the stories that the bands breaking up and all the time and getting back together and all that type of stuff.
The best musicians are a lot like samurai warriors.
Okay.
Kind of like how we do. Guys who are like Zen, they practice a lot, they love what they're doing. So it's not, you don't mind practicing 6 hours a day because you love what you're doing and you love your art. Right. And you're always changing because guitar playing is something you have to put a lot of time into, especially if you want to be a high-level guitar player.
Exactly.
You got to put a lot of time into it. And honestly, I was honest with myself to a point. I was like, you know, I don't know if I'm putting in enough time towards this, and I don't know if I have the gusto, I guess, maybe to make this into something that's a legitimate side project. So I had to be honest with myself.
So you know what I'm noticing? I'm noticing a constant theme because you know that's what we would like to do here at the Angry Black Man Podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yes, I just did say this with one of my favorite white comedians,
that's me, baby.
Pat Eady, right?
Hell yeah.
On the Angry Black Man Podcast, but Pat, it's a constant theme that I'm noticing here, and I like to bring shit together. So hopefully people can take something, you know what I'm saying? From. So what I'm hearing, a constant theme that you're giving to us is you've always had a craft that you dedicated yourself to.
Oh, for sure.
I heard football. It sounded like when you was talking about football, it didn't sound like you were just saying, "Oh, I was out there, I did it for the girl." No, it sounded like this is something that you did. You told me I was an interior lineman. I knew my responsibility.
Hell yeah.
You understand? I know that talk. When a nigga start talking like that, you know what I'm saying? I had 4 fumbles. I did this. I did that. That means you was out there causing havoc. You took pride in your job. You had a craft, right? Then you said I moved on to guitar, right? And then you started talking about the intricacies of playing the guitar.
And,
this is a thing
you're right.
that I'm noticing about you. You see what I'm saying? You can rant about these things on and on. Now it's comedy.
Yeah, comedy.
So was there another craft that
came
after?
There was in between guitar playing and football. I had illusions of being a mixed martial artist for a little while.
And you took the.
I was real into that shit, man. That was a lot of fun. I had this coach.
So basically, he's telling you, I will fuck you up, nigga.
Well,
try me and I'll fuck you up. That's why I get it. Because if you dedicated yourself any kind of way, what you dedicated yourself to a football, if you put the time in, what you put the time into for fucking guitar, I know you did the same thing for martial arts.
Well, I have a healthy respect for throwing bones at people, if that was. And so I understand the dangers that go into it, and I understand that, like, you know, I could defend myself, but I know I did it enough that that's a very serious thing to engage in.
Right.
And if you're not all the way in it. And now I had a great coach at the time, this guy named Jeff Reno, fucking one of the coolest dudes I've ever met in my life. And his name is Jeff Reno. He sounds like the fucking bad guy in the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
That's a cool ass name.
That's fucking cool. And he was real fucking badass. I had a great time doing that, but unfortunately, like, you know, I was 21, 22, and I didn't really understand the art of boxing and kickboxing. I was like, all right, we're here.
Right.
Let's go to war.
Right.
Every time we spar, let's go to war with people. So like we know we would knock the fuck out of each other. And while that was fun, so I did a smoker, an MMA smoker, and that's one of those things where you sign up and you sign a waiver, you pay them $25, and you do like an MMA fight.
Right.
All right. So I get matched up with like this Samoan kid, right?
Okay.
And man, I tell you what, dog, like I was like maybe 235 at the time, but like we went in there and man, I got straight up fucking smoked.
Okay.
I got smoked hard, dog.
Okay.
Cause like I remember getting in the cage, cause like that was the most nerve-wracking thing I ever did, cause like. You have to it's like, all right, you're gonna fight somebody like in a week and a half. So like for a week and a half, you just have all this anxiety about this shit, and it's just that was way worse than the actual like getting my ass kicked.
Right.
That was like this weight on your stomach.
So you have felt physical defeat.
100%. And that's the thing.
No doubt about it.
I got crushed. I got crushed.
Felt not just mental or moral. Oh, my feelings are hurt off the stage. No. Nigga, I felt physical defeat.
So like the way they went down, I remember throwing like a wild hook at him to open up with, and I'm pretty sure he connected with about like one of those Vitor Belfort like fucking 1, 2, 3, 4 straight jabs on my ass.
Right.
Because I remember grabbing his leg, thinking, all right, I'm about to turn the tide, and the ref was like, let him go. It's fucking over. It's fucking over.
Babysitting his leg.
Hell yeah. So I got out there, like, go to the bathroom, clean it. I'm bleeding from my nose, my eye. I got fucked up.
Okay.
And it was deservedly. So I didn't, because that was a situation where I didn't put the proper mental preparation in, and I didn't show that guy because I came out like I was just like fucking playing UFC 3 on Xbox.
Right.
I'm gonna come out with a wild hook, and I paid the price for it.
Okay.
So I did that. I mean,
you was living in a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You were living in a motion picture.
I understood in that moment I was not Vin Diesel.
Okay.
I was not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
I got humbled real fast and real quick, and that was probably one of the best things that happened to me.
Now, watch this, Pat. Watch this, because this is important for the people. This is what I like to do, man, because I'm about to bring this shit full circle. All right. Another constant theme that I've heard in your life story, in your background, right? I've heard aggression, right?
Sure.
Football is aggression. No way around it, right?
For sure.
I played football for over half my life. I played for OU D1 college, so
I
know what the fuck I'm talking about. When I know about football and I know what football is. I'll just throw some names out there. We see Antonio Brown, right. Well, we saw the Aaron Hernandez documentary, right. Now even black people are saying, nigga, we saw OJ. Ain't that some shit?
Oh, for sure, man.
Back in the day, we was out there protesting and shit. Nigga was fighting. Nigga was going hard. Now we talk about the NFL. Yeah, nigga, OJ, he wild too. You see what I'm saying? Like this shit come full circle. That shit is crazy, man. You get shit enough time. You understand what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to get to is because I kind of maybe I can ask the question to you because I'm trying to find a way to articulate it myself because I kind of taking the same path. I play football. I didn't get into the MMA. You know what I'm saying? I play football at a very, very high level. So when I tell people that I'm doing comedy, people that knew me before, you know what I'm saying? They know because I walked with that physicality, that type of that mode. I walked with that on me. You know what I'm saying? So. They don't know how to take when I tell like, how you doing comedy? You took motherfuckers' head off for a living, right? So I want to ask you, how, in your opinion, you know what I'm saying? How did it happen for you? Is there a connection there? You know what I'm saying between football, aggression, MMA? You know what I'm saying, fighting and comedy. Can you draw us a connection, or can you tell us how somebody, a person can be so physical and so aggressive and so traumatic at a point in their life, and then all of a sudden transcend to a profession where your job is to make people laugh and make people happy?
Oh, for sure. Well, like, you know, I think the common theme is, especially now, if you look at football, MMA, I mean, it is an entertainment industry. We are gladiators. We're gladiators. Okay. Right?
Okay.
So,
there we go.
But
there's an audience.
Yeah. And like, you know, you're fighting for glory. You're fighting for. I mean, like, what bigger rush is there? Especially when you're on the football field. Were you like a safety? Were you a linebacker?
Yeah, I was a weak side linebacker, and then there's a strong safety.
Yeah. So
I
had to play offensive line and defensive line, but I love defense.
Right.
So like, the best play I ever made, we were playing Splendora. It was week 2.
I know Splendora.
We're beating the fuck out of them, right?
Okay.
But like, it's the third quarter, and they're driving, and it's like 4th and 6, 4th and goal.
Okay.
And like, they call a Tim stunt. For a defensive line, that means you just haul ass, and whatever, you just hit the inside A gap, which is right next to the center and the guard.
Okay.
And you hit it as fast as you fucking can.
Okay.
So I hit that stunt, and I got to the quarterback right because they were doing one of those. They were doing a trick play.
Okay.
So it was a reverse.
Mm-hmm.
So the receiver comes, and I hit the quarterback right when they handed off to the receiver.
Right.
I tackled them both at the same time.
Right.
And man, that was just
beautiful.
like that was like mainlining electricity. That was an adrenaline rush. Like no, that's an adrenaline rush I can compare to like killing on stage.
Okay.
So at that point, that was like
there we go.
You're just addicted to that feeling. And then
there
so like MMA and all that stuff. Like when you're in the gym, it was more of a respect between you and the guy you're sparring with.
Right.
Like when somebody hits you, you're like, oh man, I feel fucking alive. Like I got punched in the face and I'm still here. I got kicked. I got submitted.
Right.
I got choked out, but I'm still. I die so I can come back and fight again.
Right.
So MMA taught me spectacular failure.
Okay.
And at that time, I couldn't deal with it because I wasn't mentally tough enough.
Okay. And these sound like things, or these sound like essential keys that are necessary
to be a man.
To be a man and to be a comedian.
For sure, man. Because like comedy, I'm blessed.
There's no comedy without failure.
100%.
You are not a comedian if you haven't
Comedy
failed.
has made me reconcile and deal with failure on a level I was never used to.
Facts.
And I'm really happy that I get to do it because I get to understand that being a complete human being means dealing with failure and living with that, not running away from it.
Right.
Facing your failures is a big thing in comedy, and I'm so blessed I get to do that.
Okay.
So with like football, I had a hard time. Like, you know, if I got injured, I didn't attack I was getting down on myself.
Right.
When I did MMA and I got my ass fucking waxed, like I kind of stopped doing it after. I did jiu-jitsu for like 6 months, but I didn't do kickboxing again because I got fucking smoked.
Right.
And it was just in the back of my mind. And I was like, am I dedicated enough to this? Am I willing to go through all the pain?
Right.
So and after I did the MMA stuff, that's when I shifted more towards the music. And then I even realized in music, was I dedicated enough?
Right.
Because I was in a band and I got let go because I had a lot of ideas, but maybe my musical proficiency wasn't always up to par.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I can be honest with myself.
Right.
With that.
Right.
So being honest with yourself. So now comedy. I have a natural proficiency for it because I got a good voice. I have good stage presence. Even when I was a bigger guy, like I had certain things that translated well to comedy.
Okay.
But now that I do comedy, I realize it's like an art form. It's a way to communicate that I love doing. That I'm into every little aspect of it.
Okay.
So all the film study that I didn't do in football, I do that for comedy.
Right. Talk about it.
All the techniques that I didn't practice enough in mixed martial arts,
right.
I try to practice those techniques in comedy.
Okay.
All the times I didn't spend learning songs and guitar, I try to make sure I make up for that by hitting as many open mics as possible. So I understand that all those failures I had were lessons for me to learn so I can apply them to maybe maybe comedy isn't my end all be all because like you have to be open and understand what your options are. I want it to be. I love comedy.
Right.
I love comedy more than I love applying myself to this. I love I love that I get to hang out with fucking Breadman. I get to hang out with Chuck Justice. I get to go to Austin and fucking do a show.
You're living to the beat of your
own
drum.
I tell you, it's so fucking great. I mean, I remember even like when I was like 7 years old, my dad like kind of talked about how he wanted to be like a comic because my dad's probably the funniest person I know.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
He's kind of off the cuff. Funny. I mean, there's differences, of course, being stand-up funny, but definitely.
But
I work with my dad on shit, and I get to hang out with him. And there's a certain dryness, and there's a certain like assholeness, and it's funny.
Definitely.
So I see that, and I'm like, I kind of felt like I always had proclivities or things that would be good at this.
Okay.
But that's not enough.
Right.
You could show up with talent,
Definitely.
but that don't mean shit if you don't work hard.
Especially when you show up and you see the arena and you see what people
Hell
are
yeah.
doing. You definitely
for sure, man. You're kicking the balls.
And that's another thing. That's why I got excited because I'm like, I felt like I had a lot of energy. I knew I had a lot, to bring or whatever. And when I finally jumped out there and did it, I was like, okay, like I can really do this. But then I started to see guys like you. I started to see guys like Charles. I seen guys like Cool Gente. You see what I'm saying?
Right. There's levels to it, man.
Man, it's levels to this shit. You understand what I'm saying? But it motivates me
for sure, man.
More. You know what I'm saying? And just listening to you, I'm gonna bring this home for the people. We're gonna get Charles up here. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to get his story out there as well. But listening to you, I can definitely see your background in your comedy. You might not be able to see it, but as an outsider, as a fan of your comedy,
appreciate that, man.
I can tell you that I can see the attention to detail, the attention to that this is a craft and taking a technical approach to it. And definitely guitar. You see what I'm saying? Technical. football. You know what I'm saying?
Technique,
9 techniques, 7 techniques. There's techniques. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's fundamental techniques to this shit, and it's shown in your comedy. You know what I'm saying? I just want to tell you, I want you to keep doing the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? If there's anything I can do ever, you know what I mean? I'm now, nigga. The Angry Black Man podcast is there for you. We want to see you win. We want to see you win.
Well, I want to finish because like I think it's important about comedy and something I learned last year is taking pleasure in my friends' accomplishments.
Oh, okay.
And taking pleasure in seeing my friends succeed.
That's what's up.
And I think that, I mean, like, I wish I could tell myself, like, in the first year. Because, like, when you're not getting booked, Joe, I was like, hey, how come I'm not on that show? How come I'm on this? Don't worry about this shit. You put the work in, good things are going to happen. And, like, the more pleasure you take in your friends' success and the more you invest in their careers, the better it is for you. You know what I'm saying? So I like to see Brett Mann succeed. I want to see Chuck succeed. I want to see my boys in Houston succeed. Because the work's being done.
That's what's up.
If you stay in the pocket, good things happen.
That's what's
up. But taking pleasure in other comics, like doing well, I think is probably the one thing I wish I would learn.
Definitely, because when you look at some of these when you look at some of these classics, not even the classic. When you go to Hollywood and you look at the projects that are being done, everybody on the Dave Chappelle, you better guarantee all the writers knew each other.
Yeah,
right?
Neil Brennan,
they all knew each other. Producers, they all know each other. When these motherfuckers come to bring you this fucking comedy, you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers know each other. The machine is in place, and this is how the machine is built, man.
So baby.
You preaching some real shit, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. That's what's up, man. I love you too, man.
Thanks,
That's what's up,
Thank
man.
you, man.
That's some fire shit, boy. Many black people have taken this walk. Many black people know what this journey is about. They know what this building. And right now we're having a lot of confusion about the marijuana law. You understand what I'm saying? Here in Texas, is it legal? Is it just decriminalized? Is it just legal for white people? Right? Taking this long journey down this hallway. Now, some people come in on their own reconnaissance. Some people come in this hallway, right? They come in thinking that everything is all good, right? You come in, I got a little marijuana ticket. I just showed up to do my little thing in court as a black man. But, right, a lot of black men, they show up. They come through these doors. They go through the metal detectors, right? They show up for their court appearance, trying to do the right thing, and they never come out.
Austin effectively decriminalize small amounts of pot.
Decriminalize meaning you cannot go to jail for it. Just great enough for it to apply to black people. Charges will be dropped. They're not telling you. That's after you sit your ass in jail for 30 days and you finally get to the motherfucking judge.
Yeah.
But you done already lost your job.
Right.
The liberation for black people is in the laws.
Right.
There is liberation in the laws. You understand what I'm saying? So if we don't attack this aggressively, if we don't keep our foot on their neck, you understand what I'm saying, by being clear about this, right? Then we don't get our liberation, because do you understand how much that alleviates when you can't ask a black man, what's that I smell? What's that I smell in your car? Why your eyes red?
Yeah.
Damn, what you smell like? What you been smoking on? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't fuck with me no more about that. That is liberation. That is freedom. You understand what I'm saying? The liberation is in the law.